Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Macon-Bibb County Board of Commission. This is the pre-commission meeting. Today is Tuesday, I think, March the 4th, 2025, and the time is 4 o'clock. We've got a rather busy agenda today. Last time we jinked it and said with no alcohol licenses. Today we want to make sure that you didn't leave home without having at least 6 to consider. Well, we're going to start out with giving you an update, something that we decided we would do at least once a year to the entire group. And as give you an update on our Macon Violence Prevention Program, I introduced you to our Macon Violence Prevention Coordinator just a little while, Mr. Jeremy Grissom, but I appreciate everyone from being here today. We also have many of our partners that are here today. Some were here in support and others may be doing a presentation. So I'm going to begin by just basically letting you know about how we got to where we're at now and what has happened over the last couple of years, and then we'll give you some statistics, and then we'll hear from some of the folks here. And I noticed that our sheriff has now walked in, so good to see you, Sheriff Davis. And we have always in our DA, I'm sorry, Ms. Howard, how you doing? Good to see you. You walked in first. But we have a lot of people here today that are support the initiatives that we have going on, and you're going to hear some great things from them. We always know that these things are kind of challenging, but we have to recognize when we make some good strides, and this is what we're doing today, is giving you an update of where we're at. So just to say a few things about where we come from, it's almost been 4 years ago now that on a very hot day in a park that actually had grass, now you'll see dirt across at Rosa Parks, but on a very blistering hot day, we came together with hundreds and hundreds of people standing in Rosa Parks Square to affirm that our one voice, that we must work together to fight back against the plague of violent crime that's affecting all of our neighborhoods across our community, and not just here in Middle Georgia, but in the state and nationally as well. Since then, we've engaged thousands of people in our community on what's needed and where they need the resources at. And I think that's important to note, not just people that sit around this horseshoe here at City Hall, but from the people acting in our communities. We heard for the need for stronger law enforcement. And when I say stronger law enforcement, that's funding for new technologies to help, the increased starting pay, and we put an annual incentive pay in place for longevity. And I'm pleased to say that all those are working, even though they continue to have challenges throughout the state on that. Macon-Bibb County is doing their part in leading some of those efforts. We heard about the need for our youth programs that work to keep people in these great programs, and our recreation department and others. And those are some of the comments we heard, not just in one community, but every district across Macon-Bibb County. We heard that people tell us where we can find the crime in their neighborhoods. So we actually have boots on the ground. They say, you can go to this street, or you can go to this area, or this is where I hear maybe gunshots at. This is where people hang out and sell drugs at. So we work to restrict that. We even had to close some businesses, thanks to all the partnership we have with our Sheriff's Department, our code enforcement, our attorneys here, our legislators here around the horseshoe. We enacted policy, good sound policy, that protect the business owners, but at the same time protect the community from business owners who were not doing what they're supposed to. And that involved, closing down some nuisance, some stores that were making some dramatic negative effects in our community, in particular along the line of violence and drugs. And we were able to do that, and you're going to see some numbers on that. In particular, off the top of my head, I remember when we closed down the nuisance there across from Pendleton Homes on Houston Avenue, and I think about how many homicides we had and how many transactions we had of drugs across the street there. And, just within a couple of years, we had about a 70% decrease just in that immediate area. And I say that because Bruce Elementary is right there beside that, and our Cliffview project is right there beside that, and our new medical project that we supported just up the road there, right in that same general area that we're making differences at. So we continue to do that. We also heard from local organizations that were having an impact. But it's not just good to be in a good nonprofit, right? You have to have resources to work with. And they told us some of the challenges they had about getting resources and how they were, some challenges about getting people to help them. So we wanted to be that conduit to help provide them not only some financial resources, but to provide them some training and surround them around good people who are doing it right in our community so they can learn best practices, and how we can ramp up their efforts to make our community a safer place to live for all of that. Most of all, we heard that public safety was indeed one of the most important issues that people were facing in our community, that they were tired of feeling scared. And we heard your voice, and we decided to do something about it. but they were also willing to help make that change. It's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to actually get boots on the ground and have people step up to the plate and do what they're supposed to do. So as we made this initial announcement and we moved through forums across each and every part of our community, we stressed that we did not get to this point overnight. And I know people start talking about when is this going to happen and when is that going to happen. Well, we didn't get here overnight, and certainly it's not going to change overnight. But I can tell you it's happened a lot quicker than we thought it would, and you'll hear some of those numbers this evening. But, you know, we figured it's going to be a 10-year plan, and things will start to happen after a period of time. But we have such great people doing great work. They stepped up to the plate, and we're kind of moving in the same direction. And we've seen some great strides made in a very short period of time. And we're making meaningful change. And I say meaningful change, meaning we're saving lives, and we're preventing destruction for families in the future. And we still do, and I'm proud of that because we work together to make this a priority. Our homicide rate continues to drop, and we're becoming recognized as a model for violence reduction. Before I get to the numbers, though, I just want to say that even with a reduction, and it's hard to kind of pat yourself on the back sometimes as a community when you have a reduction, knowing that there are still people who are losing their lives, because we know it's not just about a number, it's about the people that matter in our community, that father, that mother, that niece, that aunt, that son, that daughter. Those folks are more than just a number. They matter to us, and we still remember them, and their families still face all the challenges they have, being basically ripped apart by some of these traumatic events they have. And that's why it's important for us to continue to make sure that we're there for them and we argue and fight for them each and every day. That's a person that's no longer with us today, and they don't have a voice that they can fight for, so we're going to be that voice for them, which is why we must continue to do this good work. Even with this reduction, we're not where we want to be. When people ask you all the time or ask us all the time, we're not going to be where we want to be unless we're at zero, right? Although some believe that can't happen, we have to do our part to try to make sure that that's the ultimate goal. And we must continue to push forward and work with all of our amazing partners that are here today. Many of you could not be here, but I know they are watching at home. So let's go over a few numbers there, and you've got something on the screen that I hope that you can see there that kind of tells the story on our violent homicides. Since 2022, the overall homicide rate has decreased by 45%, and the youth homicide rate, 18 or younger, is down by 87% in Macon-Bibb County. So when you see people in our community who get on social media or who make open comments about how dangerous it is in our community and how every day someone is getting killed or shot, then these are the facts, folks. This is not something that we just pulled out of thin air. These are actually the facts that we have to push back on. Although the numbers are not going to be like we want them yet, you have to know that they are getting better, and we're in a better place because of it. As you can see, we dropped down from 71 in 2022 to 39, and we already started on a good year this year, and we hope that that trend continues. More importantly, you saw the fact that we're targeting our youth. We're trying to target our youth because we know as they grow up and they have siblings and they have family members that targeting our youth is a way to go. One important number jumps out to me, and I had to make sure this was correct when I was given this number, but in 2022, we had 15 young adults under the age of 18 that were victims of homicides. In 2024, that number shrunk to 2. And we look for ways that we can prevent those 2 as well. So that's an amazing accomplishment. It would not happen but for the people in this room. We'll move on. So let's just take a moment to think about the teenagers and what lies ahead of them. There you go. In 2024, our teenagers, we talked about before, reducing those numbers, but everybody in our community, and it's not just a Macon-Bibb County issue. I want you to know that. It's not just a state issue. It's a national issue. As I watched the legislature over the last 20-something days work in Atlanta to make all these laws and to have these discussions on the floor, a lot of what they talk about is mental health. And a lot of times, Sheriff, they talk about those that are incarcerated and how we have a very expensive mental health program, but we want real funds to go to that. So something we started to do a couple years ago is to make sure that mental health matters to Macon-Bibb County. You can see in 2024, our Macon mental health programs that we're proud of has 60+ community events, weekly counseling for 74 individuals. They conducted community-wide surveys on ACEs, and these are the number of free hours of therapy. We say free as in free to the recipient that gets great benefit. This is 3,552 for individuals and 1,728 for combined support groups. You can see some of the examples, and of course, we've had our mental health matters experts come here to testify and give you information and do programs throughout the last year, so you should be familiar with those. But we have to attack these root causes, and one of the root causes that we see all the time is for mental trauma. Everything from how well you do in school to whether you show up for school, whether you get in trouble at school, whether you show up to the workforce and you're properly ready to go to work. These are all affected by mental health. Also decides whether or not you end up incarcerated or not. And these are some of the things that we have to continue to target. Is there another slide after that? Thank you very much. Just to go a little bit further, and I think we talked about this last year, this is a team award. This is Team Macon-Bibb County. And I see a lot of you in here that help contribute to this, but we don't take it very lightly. It's one thing for us to say we're doing a good job, and we just showed you all the numbers that show the facts. It speaks to the facts about the work that we're doing here in our community. But Macon received the Visionary Award, which is a top award that a city can receive out of 527 cities or 537 cities, I believe now, in the state of Georgia. The top award for Visionary Award for the Macon Violence Prevention Program. This is by the Georgia Municipal Association for the category for creation and implementation of the Macon Violence Prevention Program. So it's others that are recognizing the great work that we're doing across the state. And it's being used for best practices in other areas because they see the way that it's dramatically decreased the amount of crime that we have. Again, as a sheriff will always tell you that crime is down in Macon, but if it happens in your house, it's up 100%. And I don't like to repeat what he says all the time, but that is something that's always stuck in my head, Sheriff. And I've used it often, but I always give you the credit for it in that occasion anyway. So it is true. And I argue with people on social media all the time about crime, and I tell them the overall crime is down and violent crime is down, et cetera, et cetera. But if your car just got broken into while you're enjoying a nice dinner somewhere, it's certainly not the time to tell you that crime is down. So we continue to struggle with that, but just to know that Macon-Bibb County is being used as a model across the state, and we're continuing to lead the way in a positive way, and this is one of those ways that we do that. Community Justice National Rankings. If you look there, you know, Macon-Bibb County and all the people working behind the scenes made sure that we did our part. Each and every department that we have in our community, from our DA's office to our nonprofits to our courts to our sheriff's department to our Macon Violence Prevention, we all wanted to get the information together because you hear a lot about national rankings. Macon-Bibb County was tied for 6 out of 100 U.S. cities on the 2023 Community Justice Violence Prevention Index, ranks the U.S. cities on their efforts to implement policies to effectively reduce gun violence over time. This is gun violence. You can see what the national average is at 32. Macon-Bibb County scored a high score of 79. And you can see how we compare to other cities in Georgia when people tell you that Macon is this and Macon is that compared to something they Googled and got. This is factual information that you can fact check yourself. You can see Atlanta there at 21 score, Augusta at 4, 18 for Columbus, and 17 for Savannah. Those are places that we're commonly compared to day in, day out. And you can see our score was 79 on how we addressed the problem. Next slide, please. And finally, before we get a chance to talk to Mr. Jeremy Grissom, I'll say a few more things. So let's just take a moment to think about all the work that we've done here in our community. Our MVP partners are working directly with our youth families and the needs that they have, the mentoring programs that we have, and counseling and education to our skills. We can't forget the school system. I appreciate our representative, Mr. Darrell Morton, for being here today. They play a very integral part. You know, some children spend more time in their school with their school teachers and their friends than they do sometimes their caregivers. And we have to remember that we give them the resources to work with as well, and they play a vital part. We couldn't have a successful Macon Violence Prevention Program without having a good partnership with our school system. So we appreciate all the work that they do. So we can continue to work together in this partnership. We can continue to fund programs like this, but we can only do that if we have good buy-in from our community. We need folks like you watching at home. We need folks like you that are in here today to keep supporting what we do. And when I say support, I mean be positive about our community. If you have an issue you think needs to be addressed, we need more volunteers. We'd love for you to turn the problem that you believe that exists to a solution that we know that exists out there. So there's no better way to step up to do that. As a matter of fact, we have open table open coming up, and I see Ms. Catherine Dennis there. You have a chance to sit at a round table with other folks and talk about some of these issues that are vitally important to our community. So I ask that you join one of those groups and participate and be part of the solution that we have. So now we're going to get on to some other part of our presentation today, and I want to call Mr. Jeremy Grissom up. Mr. Grissom is our leader, our fearless leader there. Thank you, Mr. Grissom, for being here today. The work is vitally important that he does each and every day. We are striving to get to zero on our list of violent crimes, and I know that together we can make that happen, even though, like I said, some people think it's unrealistic. But Jeremy does a lot of great work for our community. He is the person, he is glue that holds all this together. He pulls all of our partners together in the community to make sure they're doing their part. Sometimes he has to be the hammer that makes sure that you do your paperwork like you're supposed to do, because, we try things out of the box, and sometimes they don't all work. But we want to make sure that we track everything we do, and we learn from the mistakes that we have, and we amplify the great things that we are doing. So this time, I'd like to turn the program over to our MVP coordinator, Mr. Jeremy Grissom.
I'd like to first thank all of the partners for coming to hear about, the community for coming to hear about all the work that our partners are doing. As the mayor said before, we're seeing results a lot faster than we expected, and we're happy about that. So we've provided safety equipment to support our law enforcement partners as it relates to camera systems, shot spotter, things of that nature. And we focused on centers of crime, and we've done that through legislative court processes and made sure we got to some of those areas that were greatly impacting our community. But I won't talk too much about that because after I speak, our sheriff and our district attorney will be here to talk about their efforts. But I want to just tell you about the work that I've experienced myself in dealing with our partners and these nonprofits. From the murals that were created at Brookdale, to this programs for strengthening our young women through the Girls Dig Deeper initiative, who you'll hear from earlier, the PACE Center for Girls, for the expansion of Lead with Literacy, and the outreach that Making Black Culture has done within the school system and working at Bruce Elementary, to just foster good relationships in communities with our partners, to let them know that they have a resource, whatever that resource needs to be, whether it's a mentor, where there's an opportunity to have a new experience, to grow and strengthen their relationships, and just to understand that community is involved, that we know that their growth is important and safety is our number one priority. And we also have Men About Change here to talk a little bit about what they do. So we funded Men About Change, Girls Dig Deeper, Middle Georgia Justice, Next Level, and a lot of other organizations that have been great partners to us. But we've dealt with children who may have basically been written off by the community, right? That may have had disciplinary problems, that may have needed assistance with something. I think that what we found is when we get into these homes and have these conversations, we find out that there's a greater need for other things. So sometimes behavior is just the thing that gets us talking, right? And it leads us to finding different solutions. So they've had contact now with mentors and groups that not only manage and maintain their progress, but continue to build the faith in community, and just in the fact that there's a resource. And we've seen families and Lead with Literacy sit down and actually have a meal and a discussion, and a child will leave there with a meal and a free book for every session. That's something that rarely happens. So numbers will often tell a story, but it never tells the full story. So we always want to hear the numbers, but I implore you to remember where we were in 2022, where public safety was an issue and everybody was concerned about where we were and what we were doing. And now, here we are talking about these numbers, but remember that feeling. And I like to lastly talk about the power of collaboration. Recently, we were able to get some funds from Georgia Power to help continue a partnership, and I think that speaks volumes about the belief that the community has in the programs that we're doing. And you don't have to be a grantee to assist in our efforts, right? We have the Active Dads group that I've partnered with. We have the Men's Mental Health group, and if you have an idea that works, every idea is better That's a little bit better. To talk about our partnership and her MVP initiatives.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. How are you all doing today? Wonderful. I'm so glad to be here to share with you kind of the things that we have done specifically with our RISE initiative, but it definitely ties into crime prevention. Um, let's see. This one here, right? Okay, there he is. So, with our RISE graduates, as you can see, in 2002, we had 26 graduates, 23, we had 68, and then this year, this past year in December for our graduation, we had 122 graduates. Now, what's very unique about that is you can see where our referrals for our RISE initiative, where those referrals are coming from. It had always been my goal that we would do community outreach, so we would have at least 40% of the referrals coming from the community. I believe that is actually true prevention because we want to make sure that we are able to offer these services to these youth who have experienced adverse childhood experiences early on so they don't become a part of the criminal justice system. And so what we've been able to see is over the number of years, that percentage has increased. So this is representative of the 2024 graduates, the 122. Only 14% of those youth had juvenile court involvement. 31% came directly from our victim advocates, meaning that they have been traumatized directly by a crime. Either they were victims of molestation, they witnessed violence in their home, there was, possibly a drive-by that, they heard something of that nature. And then 55% are direct result of the outreach that we do at the various events throughout the year. And so we just want to continue with those percentages. Now, I know one of the numbers that you all saw was the deaths of youth who were under the age of 18 in 2022. Well, in August of 2024, we tried that case. And I'm sure the sheriff is going to talk about ShotSpotter, but I believe ShotSpotter funding was a part of MVP. Is that correct, Mr. Mayor? And I want you all to know, in August of 2024, that was the first time that we had actually used the ShotSpotter technology in the courtroom. And we were able to get a guilty verdict simply based on ShotSpotter. Oftentimes in our cases, people say, do you have a gang problem? Do you have this kind of problem? Well, we know, and obviously you all have done something about it, and we're continuing to do things about it. Just as we have statewide and on a national level, we have a gun problem. So oftentimes in our cases, the deceased had a gun, and oftentimes the defendant had a gun. And so we're trying to figure out who shot first, and obviously, most of the time, only one party can tell their side of the story. Well, in this particular case that we tried, the defendant alleged that the 16-year-old shot his gun first. Well, thanks to the ShotSpotter technology and the testimony of Centel Smith with the sheriff's office, we were able to establish and convince the jury that no, actually, the defendant that we had on trial actually shot first. And once he heard the technology, he even had to change his story. So I know I look at a lot of things on social media. I don't often respond. I know that you all got a lot of flack. I saw that as it related to ShotSpotter, but I'm here to tell you ShotSpotter made the difference in that case. If we would not have had that, it would have been a not guilty verdict. And I'm not saying this to make it sound good. We talked to the jurors, and they said it made all the difference. So I want to thank you for your support of RISE. I want to thank you for your support of ShotSpotter. The thing that the juries the jury members did ask for is they wanted ShotSpotter in more locations. So I'm just the messenger. Don't take it out of my budget. But I just want to thank you all for everything that you do to support us, my office, and public safety. Any questions? I want it to be brief.
Thank you for being here tonight, Ms. Howard, and appreciate the shout-out ShotSpot. I remember having the conversation with you when that jury came back, and certainly, a lot of time people doubt it until they put it into action. But that's a person who would have walked away with murder, literally, had it not been for the technology, and it's something that we invested in early on. We made part of ours, and of course, we have a contract that'll be coming up on that ShotSpotter, and we'll be looking at that in depth in our next budget in the next couple of times, and also looking at the possibility of trying to expand that. So thank you for being here. Mr. Grissom, would you?
Thank you, DA Howard, for your continued partnership and support. Next, I'd like to call our Sheriff, David Davis, up to give us some information.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm pleased to be here, and it's good to follow the mayor and the DA with our presentation. And you'll see that everything we've talked about, everything sort of fits in together with what we are doing with the MVP program. And one of the things, we have a lot of things going on at the Sheriff's Office, but a couple of things I do want to kind of point out. One of them is our Strategic Information Center. Many of you all on the commission visited that center a while back and got to see what we have going on there. And you new commissioners, y'all welcome to come down and we'll show you what we have, and to show you how all of this technology has sort of blended together, and it's really all come into fruition since the beginning of the MVP program. So we're really excited about that, and it is really solving crimes and is really helping us to reduce crimes. So the first one of them is our flock safety system, and we've heard people talk about that we have the flock camera readers, the tag readers on the cars that we have had throughout the county. We started off with around 100 of them. We added to that. Now we have nearly 200 flock cameras all over Macon-Bibb County, and those cameras are doing a phenomenal job for us, and we hope to be able to add some more. We have been able to recover a number of stolen vehicles off of our camera systems, off of the flock camera system. So far, we have recovered over 6,200 hits on stolen cars, and we have been able to get 64 stolen cars stopped and the people driving them off the streets and those things. So when you see a bunch of hits, because we have so many cameras, we can track that vehicle all over town. It may be on Bass Road right now, and then in a couple of hours it'll liable to be on Rivoli or on Bloomfield or somewhere. So we get a hit each time that vehicle moves by a flock camera, so that we're able to track that vehicle, and then the deputies are able to make the stop. All our patrol deputies have the flock notification in their car, so if they close in and they get a notification, they go after it and make that stop. The next thing is our Verkada cameras, and Verkada is the brand of it, and they are here to monitor. We have over several hundred of those cameras around. There's almost 500 camera locations all throughout downtown and throughout different parts of our community. The Housing Authority has a number of these cameras in their property, so we're able to blend those cameras with cameras that we have downtown, and they have been very instrumental in us being able to identify people who have been involved in criminal activity, who've been able to help us find missing people. You name it, we have been able to find it, and it has helped us to identify those folks who want to create problems in our community. So those are a big help to us. The ShotSpotter system, as D.A. Howard just mentioned, has been a real game changer for us in that regard. But we've noticed that through the time that we started ShotSpotter, it's almost 3 years in effect now, that our number of incidents, total incidents, has gone down, has trended down since the beginning. The total number of shots per occurrence and then total incidents is trended down throughout this period of time. Whereas used to, it was not uncommon to hear a number of shots, as many as 15 or 20 or 25 shot rounds at one time go off. Now we may only hear 1 or 2. So they know that when that gunshot goes off and it's detected, before long there's going to be a deputy who's going to go through there and check it. And then from the shell casings that we find on the side of the road at a location, whether a person is still there or not, we're able to link that to other cases, and we have been able to solve some homicides based on those shell casings that otherwise, absent of ShotSpotter, Flock, and the Verkada cameras, you wouldn't even think that these cases were even related. But all of those technologies come together to show us that they are. And you can see the trend line on the ShotSpotter program since its inception. And we are looking at some places, Madam DA, to expand that footprint of ShotSpotter. We're kind of looking at the data now where we get calls of gunshots now. So when we look at contract time or wherever, to expand that footprint or either alter some of it where it is, because ShotSpotter has made such a difference in some places. We're just not getting the shot calls like we used to, because it has made an effect. A couple of success stories on the Flock cameras. We use it certainly to catch people that we're looking for that have criminal intent, but there was an elderly couple, a man and his wife, that were headed to North Carolina and got off track. And that we were notified, and because those Flock cameras go all the way up the interstate and all up through Georgia into Tennessee and North and South Carolina, we were able to follow that vehicle. We were able to get them and find them in Tennessee, locate the local law enforcement there, and get them to their destination of where they wanted to be. And that's where it's a helping thing to people who are lost. Then we have another case, and just one of many, where an individual had an armed robbery at a local convenience store. That vehicle was given a description. We were able to track that vehicle on the Flock cameras, and within just a few days, within just a day, that person was identified and arrested in that armed robbery. We've had homicide cases, we've had stolen vehicles. All of that has worked, has been able to solve those crimes based on that. And certainly our SRT unit continues on doing its work. You know, just last year, 787 arrests, 126 firearms recovered, over 40 vehicles recovered, stolen vehicles, that sort of thing. So the SRT, as well as the other patrol and the investigators, are continuing their great work. But this technology helps them as a force multiplier. All of these things with the cameras, all of the things with the ShotSpotter, with the Flock cameras, that used to would have taken investigators and deputies hours and hours and hours, scores of investigators, to do the work that we can find out in just a few minutes on a Flock camera or either on our other Verkada cameras and the ShotSpotter system. So it takes us to where we're at. This is our outreach program, our outreach center down at Hazel and Telfair Street, and that's some of the programs that we have: the Neighborhood Watch, the Champs program, Night to Unite, Consider the Consequences program, Explorers program. We're really excited about that because that is in conjunction with the scouting, to where that those kids from like 9 up to 19 can be a part of Explorers, and we've had people come to work at the sheriff's office even after being one of our Explorers. And these are some of the pictures from that. We have some things that we do. We've had over 120 different group programs through the sheriff's office, different meetings, reaching over 30,000 people in our community over this time. So those are some great things that we're doing, and every bit of this taken together helps us to solve the crimes, helps us to make an impact in our community, and helps us to further the mission of the MVP. So we're proud to be a part of it. We're proud of the contribution that the Sheriff's Office is able to make, but it takes all of us as a community. And thanks to you, commissioners, for helping us fund these things and helping us being out on the front lines of helping our community. So thanks.
Thank you, Sheriff Davis. Appreciate you being here. Mr. Grissom, you next.
Thank you, sir. Next, we will hear from the president of the Community Foundation of Central Georgia, Ms. Catherine Dennis.
You get to pick what next is. Good afternoon, sorry. Thank you for having me here today and all of us. And on behalf of the Community Foundation's board, my colleague Darius Maynard, and the other staff members of the Community Foundation, it's really an honor and to be able to share this progress of what's happened with Macon violence prevention. In 2021, as you know, the Community Foundation joined forces with Macon-Bibb County in a shared mission to reduce violent crime and create a safer, stronger community. With an initial grant of $2.5 million, we established a comprehensive grant program aligned with the Macon Violence Prevention Strategic Plan. In the summer of 2024, the Macon-Bibb County Commission reaffirmed its commitment to us and awarded an additional $500,000 for a third round of Macon Violence Prevention grants. And we are very grateful to you, Mayor Miller, and to each of you commissioners for that support and for entrusting us with this responsibility. Over the course of those 3 grant cycles, we've awarded over $2.5 million to 40 unique organizations. And those organizations are helping transform the lives of children in our community, families, and then changing our community in a positive, lasting way. On July 31st, 2024, we announced 25 grants, our third round of grants, totaling $855,500. The Macon Violence Prevention Strategic Plan was built on the input of thousands of Macon-Bibb County residents, and it's driven by 6 community-led strategies. That's what makes MVP unique. It's community-led, it's community-driven, and it's community-owned. The most recent round of funding supported programs in 3 key priority areas. 19 of those grants totaled $625,500, and they were for supervised youth activities. 2 grants totaled $55,000 for mental health resources, and 4 grants totaling $175,000 provided support, education, and accountability for parents. And you heard the mayor reference all 3 of those were very important to the community when they spoke to us at the beginning of this project. Beyond the financial support, our grantees have benefited from 5 collaborative learning exchanges. At those exchanges, they connect, share insights, and they learn from experts. Recent discussions have focused on chronic absenteeism and also the importance of safety protocols for their volunteer management. These sessions foster collaboration, and that leads to stronger partnerships and also a more effective network among our nonprofits in the community. Today, I'd like to highlight a few of the remarkable success stories emerging from this work. In the room today, we have Taryn Collinsworth, Director of Communities and Schools, and they received funding for Project Ignite. CIS is working diligently to pair students at SOAR Academy with professionals in our community so that these students can discover their passions and that they can develop plans for their future. The After School Mural Project is a powerful example of what happens when organizations collaborate. With MVP funding, Brookdale Resource Center partnered with local mural artist Erin Hawkins, Mama Hawk Draws, and students from Men About Change, who you'll hear from in a moment, to design and create an inspirational mural on Brookdale's walls in Hello House. This project not only beautified the space, but it also empowered those young people to leave a lasting mark on their community. Another example is Middle Georgia Justice, which is making a real difference in Macon-Bibb County by helping people overcome legal barriers and that are tied to their criminal records. Over just 3 months, September to November 2024, 110 individuals reached out for assistance, proving the tremendous need for this support. In Bibb County alone, 65 cases were opened, and that led to record restrictions, court seals, and pardons that enabled people to move forward without the burden of their past mistakes. The impact extends beyond those numbers, though. Nearly half of those helped were already employed, reinforcing that this work isn't just about clearing records. It's about keeping people working, keeping them housed, and also stable. Middle Georgia Justice is also reaching those who need it most, our veterans and individuals with disabilities. I think all of us recognize that this is a long-term effort. The challenges of violent crime weren't created overnight, and they certainly won't be solved overnight. This work requires persistence, partnership, and the understanding that real change takes time. And all of our partners, those 40 organizations, the county, our DA, our sheriffs, our entire community is working together to make this a better place and to reduce this level. And thank you, Mr. Mayor, for bringing up On the Table. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for the citizens and for your constituents to really to speak out. You know, they all call you, I'm sure, write you and say, you need to do this, the county needs to do this, that mayor needs to do this, whatever. But in the end, it's all up to us. I mean, as individuals, we're responsible for the community. We elect you, but it is our responsibility. And On the Table is designed to give people that opportunity to talk about things and figure out where they can fit in. And we say, what happens next is up to you. So this week, there are hundreds of conversations going on. So if you'll encourage people and promote this, we have 3 more days of conversations. If you go to On the Table Central Georgia, or On the Table centralga.com, or you can go to the Community Foundation and there'll be a link. You can register for those tables. But it goes back to what the mayor was saying and what also Jeremy said it in his remarks, that, you know, it's not just these organizations that are responsible, it's all of us. So now it's my pleasure to introduce 2 people who are outstanding Macon violence prevention grantees, and they really are doing the work, and they're making a profound impact in our community, and they're going to come up one after the other. But first, Najiva Timothy of Girls Dig Deeper, and then Dr. Erwin Clowers of Men About Change. They're going to share firsthand how this MVP funding has strengthened their programs and also is transforming Macon-Bibb County. Thank you.
Ms. Tanner, let me say, I may have a quick question real quick, maybe for you, perhaps, Ms. Bryant.
Hi.
Yes.
I just got a question. What's the number for Middle Georgia Justice for the people that are listening that may want the help?
The number, Darius? We'll get that out to you. I don't have that off the top of my head, but that's, yes, it's a wonderful resource we have. Thank you.
And you got 2 people present. Mr. Stewart, do you have a follow-up, sir?
While Ms. Dennis was up there, Ms. Dennis, I want to personally thank you and Darius Maynard and your entire team for what you do. At 12 o'clock today, I spoke at one of those On the Table events, and you know, it's something that the community really needs. We learned at that event today that people living in Pleasant Hill have a life expectancy of 63 years, and if you go down 3 miles to Idlehour, it's 82 years. So it's a 3-mile difference, but a 19-year gap. So things like that help make our community better because we have to come up with answers for those things. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to have you here, ma'am.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Najiva Timothy, and I am the executive director and mentor with Girls Dig Deeper Initiative. Girls Dig Deeper Initiative is a girls group mentoring and youth development program. We serve middle school and high school girls ages 13 to 17. When I first started Girls Dig Deeper Initiative back in 2018, I was just funding the organization out of pocket. And I'm so happy to be an MVP recipient because that has truly helped me to expand our services, our mentoring efforts, and our initiative in Macon-Bibb County. We've expanded. I started off, I was in 1 school. Now I am serving 4 Bibb County schools, providing mentoring services one-on-one mentoring or group mentoring services. I've extended my partnership with the recreation centers, so I do provide services to youth and families in the recreation centers and also at the Boys and Girls Club. Those services include mental health services. It could be money management sessions, a wide variety of things. And we also have a team model approach where we're partnered with other nonprofit organizations and other youth serving organizations here in Macon. One of the things that MVP has helped us with is our summer programming. We know that when kids are out of school, they need someplace safe, they need a safe space, so MVP has also helped us to expand after-school programming as well as our summer programming here in Macon-Bibb County. We're looking to continue partnerships with other nonprofits and other youth-serving organizations. We truly believe in the power of mentoring and collaboration. And our work is continuing to expand and reach our young people, whether it's in the community, in the school districts. We're just open to all youth to be able to pour into their lives and be of service to them. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. I appreciate you being here today, and I thank you for the continued work that you are doing, making a real difference there. And I appreciate the invite to many of the events that y'all have there, and I want to continue to see each of those grow. So thank you for being here tonight, and I think everyone knows how to get in touch with you, but I'll have them follow up with any other questions or comments that they want to do at a later time. So I appreciate you being here today. Commissioner Bryant, I'll let you know that the Middle Georgia Justice number is 478-283-0224. That's 478-283-0224. For those of you at home that may want to write that down as well. So, Ms. Wynn, did you have a question? Hold on just a second. Go ahead.
Yes, you don't have to move back over there, but thank you for your initiative and your ideas. I think it's wonderful for a young person to think of those things and keep it up. See how you've already gotten the money to keep going forward and keep it up and have other people join you. And I want to know where you make those cookies because I want to come help. Great job.
Commissioner Stewart, you got something to add?
Mr. Mayor, now I just wanted to piggyback on Commissioner Wynn. Ms. Najiva is originally from Florida, and so we need people to come to our city with ideas like she has and make our city better. So thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Mr. Clowers, I saw you get up and sit down. Appreciate you being here tonight, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's an honor to be here today. My name is Dr. Irvin Clowers. I'm a retired educator from the Bibb County School District, also a coach. I'm the director of Men About Change. And this past January was our 10th year for operating here in Macon, Georgia. At Men About Change, we basically try to help mentor our kids. And one of the things that we do at Men About Change is we pick up from 17 schools in Macon. And during the school year, we average about 75 kids a day. We have all certified teachers from the Bibb County School District that mentor our kids. And one of the things that we do different at Men About Change is that we do gender-based. So all our young ladies are taught by female teachers, and all our guys are taught by male teachers. So the MVP grant has allowed us to bring in 3 counselors. And so we have a female counselor for the girls, and we also have a male counselor for the guys. Now, during the summertime, the MVP have allowed us to reach over 100 kids per day. And one of the things that I can boast on is that 95% of our kids pass the Georgia milestone. And also the MVP have allowed us to bring parents in for counseling. It also allowed us to enhance our STEM lab. And one of the biggest things we've done is that we have a leadership academy where we had this past summer with the MVP grant, we was able to employ 15 high school students at our camp and also with our summer feed program. Because with our summer feed program, we fed almost 2,500 kids a day. So a lot of those leadership guys, kids, male, female, that came from our leadership academy, they was paid $8 an hour. They worked 25 hours a week. So they was also able to provide those meals to different agencies in Macon. So I thank you for the opportunity to stand here for today with the MVP. Not because of the MVP, we would not be able to serve those 75 kids during the school day, and then in the summertime, 100. So I want, once again, thank you for the opportunity to stand here for you.
Thank you, Dr. Clowers. I apologize for not respecting your title earlier, but we appreciate the great work that you do. Thanks for the invite over to your program. I know everyone is supportive of that. You said a lot of good things there. STEM, getting kids jobs, having good positive role models there, and the good work that you've got, and the collaboration that you have with the Community Foundation and others. So we appreciate your service and all the wonderful things that you've done. I think that may conclude the speakers that we have, Mr. Grissom. Is that correct? So I just want to thank everybody for being here. I can't say it enough that we really do appreciate all the work the Community Foundation of Central Georgia. Thank you, Catherine, and your team, Darius, for being here today, for the collaboration. I think we don't just give folks money and then turn around. What's important about this is Catherine and them insisted from the very beginning, they want to make sure that people know how to fill out the paperwork. They want to make sure people know how to collaborate with others. They want to learn best practices. We don't need everybody doing the same job, too. Do what you do well, right? And learn from each other. I've been to several of those collaborations, and you'd be amazed the contacts that are made from one table to the other table. People learning how to sustain, how to get financing, how to work together, how to take the best practices and put them in the work they're doing. And I remember doing an interview just a couple of years ago about how we're doing things a little bit different in Macon, and we're glad to be doing things different because it's working. We're very out-of-the-box thinkers, and that may be involved taking care of food deserts and having fruit involved. It may be playing chess. Maybe getting in front of the computer, may mean picking up trash on the side of the road. We are very creative on how we do things. Maybe music, right? A lot of different things. You'd be surprised at what get the attention of our youth. I think a lot of them, if they enjoy doing something, they're going to stay with it, and they're going to look to do those things as opposed to some things we don't want them doing. So we appreciate all of our helpers there. We couldn't do it without you guys. The folks that are home supporting this, our community members in this room today. Couldn't do it without our commissioners, of course, allowing me the opportunity to bring forth this program, but helping fund all the things that we decide to do, taking chances on new technology like ShotSpotter and Flock that nobody heard before, or Ricotta that has helped solve many, many, many crimes and will continue to do so. Thank you, Anita Howard, D.A. Howard, for being here today, for the work that you do in your office for your RISE program, which is part of our Macon Violence Prevention program. And you can see that it's outgrown. The first time we went there, we went to one location, and I think the last graduation we had to do the auditorium. Who knows, we may be at the amphitheater next year if we continue to grow things like that. So we appreciate all the good work you're doing. Sheriff, thanks for the good news today. I called just a clip of your response times. I understand the response times have gotten about 30% better. We appreciate that. That's the biggest thing that we hear all the day, and we appreciate you working on that and doing the things. But I do think we have to keep things in perspective, and we have to be factual with people and don't let them determine the narrative, because we are making strides in our community. We are moving forward together, and we are doing some great things. We still have our challenges, but when people start talking the smack, then we just hit them with the facts. And that's what we got to do, right? Hit them with the facts that you got today. You can go back and pull this meeting up. You can look at those numbers. You can check for yourself. But, you know, I know from going from 15 homicides to 2 in the 18-year-old and younger, that's good stats. Decreasing those types of crimes by 87%, those are good stats we have to have. Solving all the cases we solve, using the technology, those are wonderful things that we got going on in our community, and I refuse to let people do a different narrative, and it takes all the people in this room making that happen. So we appreciate everybody being here today. I think Commissioner Wynn's going to have maybe the last say, unless Commissioner Stewart puts his light on again, and then we'll move on to our regular business. Commissioner Wynn?
Don't you do it. Let me do it, okay? I just want to follow up to what you said, basically. D.A. Howard, I've been to your RISE programs. Wonderful. Just heartfelt wonderful. Thank you. Keep that up. I hope we do fill the big atrium thing. But anyway, and Sheriff Davis, you took us into your little room there where all these flock cameras and Verkada and stuff. I won't say anything, but I want to just say that it was interesting, informative, amazing, and I wanted to take a job there. It was so interesting. It was great. Thank you for all you do and your initiatives there. And Catherine, Dennis, thank you for what, and I wondered about where we were on the table issue, because I pulled out a little piece of paper that I had in my drawer in my kitchen where I write notes, and here's on my table notebook. So good to see that it's still there, and thank you for doing that and all you do in our community. And then to wrap it up with Mr. Grisham here, thank you for what you do to take care of all of this and kind of coordinate it. We appreciate you so much. I hope I didn't leave anybody out. All of you that spoke today, you're great, okay? And the Board of Education, you guys are great too. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I said open table earlier. That's because I was going in and reserving my place. So that was a Freudian slip. So Mr. Bailey, you trying to get the last word on me there, but I'm giving you about 10 seconds to call it a day, and we're going to move on.
Okay, and I'd just like to give our community supporters a standing ovation for everything that you do from your county commissioners. Yes.
Thank you. That was less than 10 seconds. So we know that you have busy schedules, and we don't want to bore you with a lot of the work that we have here. You can also watch it on Facebook Live. But those of you that come presented or have other business, now would be a good time. We'll give you about 60 seconds to get out before we start our other work.
I don't see him. I do not see him. Don't see him.
All right, we're back on the record, and we're going to move forward with our meeting. We do have several alcohol licenses. I believe 6 of them. They all have met the legal and statutory requirements to get approved, and our attorneys have reviewed it, and they do recommend approval of each of these, so we're going to move through these kind of rapidly. The first is, okay, she wants me to do the minutes. All right, update on Macon, oh, that's not it. Approval of the minutes. Approval of the minutes for the February the 18th, 2025 meeting. That is my motion. Can I get a second? Got a second? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. They are now approved. Thank you very much, Ms. Ross. Now we're going to move on to all those alcohol licenses I talked about. SMR Petroleum located at 5950 Hawkinsville Road, Macon, Georgia. That is a recommended approval. Can I get a motion to approve? So moved. Can I get a second? Second by Commissioner Wynn. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Residence Inn, Macon, Georgia, 3900 Sheridan Drive. You can see a picture of that Residence Inn there. They meet all the legal and statutory requirements to get a license. There's no legal reason to deny them. So all those want to make a motion, please say, make a motion. I'll make a motion. Commissioner Wynn makes a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Thank you. Chevron Food Mart located at 1106 Rocky Creek, Macon, Georgia. You can see that established business there that we know of no other issues. They do all the legal and statutory requirements, and they have a good standing order that's been approved. At this time, we entertain a motion for approval of 1105 Rocky Creek. Motion by Commissioner Howell, second by Commissioner, was that Bailey? Bailey? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Be sent to consent agenda. Item D is the Quill at Woodward located at 352nd Street. Saw the two there, which is a hotel that's been sold, so we have a new owner there, and they have requested an alcohol license. So at this time, we entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Mayor Patricia Clark, second by Commissioner Bronson over there. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries to be sent to consent agenda. Item E is Shoppers Value Food located at 5580 Thomaston Road. You can see a picture of Shoppers Value there. Same thing, as they have a transfer of ownership, and they have met all the legal and statutory requirements to get an alcohol license, and therefore, the legal mechanism approval. I get a motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Bailey. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Wynn. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries to be sent to consent agenda. Item F is Macon-Bibb Mart located at 5594 Houston Road. You can see a picture of that. It's like an old Pizza Hut there, right across from Fincher's Barbecue on Houston Road. They do meet all the legal and statutory requirements for alcohol license, and legal does recommend approval. At this time, I entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Bailey. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Wynn. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries to be sent to consent agenda. Going to move on to contracts and purchase orders for approval. Item A. This is a resolution of Macon-Bibb County Commission to authorize the mayor to execute an independent contractor agreement with Mid-State Striping, Inc. for task order pavement striping services in amount not to exceed $100,000 to be paid from the engineering department budget, contract labor, contracted services line item. It's also sponsored by Commissioner Joey Hewlett. At this time, I entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Bailey, second by Commissioner Hewlett. Any questions? As you know, we're trying to fast track a lot of these by qualifying people that can do the work, so when we have jobs that come up, we can order the work to be done, and that's what we're doing here with the striping from time to time. So we do have a motion and second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item 5B is a resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Middle Georgia Outdoor Lighting, Inc., for the purchase and installation of lighting at the skate park at Carolyn Creighton Park, an amount not to exceed $102,750 to be paid from the Capital Improvements Fund Recreation. I don't know if it's you, but I've heard about 5 times on the radio this week about this project, so I think there's a lot of people who are happy, or it's a slow news day. Either way, I'm happy. Commissioner Bronson, you have a question, sir?
Oh, I was just gonna.
Your co-sponsor?
Yeah, of course.
Commissioner Bryant?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
They're doing extra lighting. Is there gonna be, do they have competitions out there?
There are no lighting there now, so I think they're doing lighting so they can actually operate when it's
there's no
dark.
lighting?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so they won't have like extended hours, so they won't be able to stay out there till like 10 o'clock at night?
The park has hours that will close. They will not be able to do that, but they've been asking for them for a while. There were some promises made, even though it was not in writing about lighting to be there. It certainly helps secure the premises when it gets dark in that area late at night. We have cameras out there, and of course, we have we have softball and baseball fields down there that do operate way after the time that they leave there, so it's only fair to do the lights, but that's the answer to your question. Okay? At this time, I entertain a motion to approve. We also have Commissioner Wynn, Commissioner Bronson, and Commissioner Hewlett as co-sponsors. Got a motion to approve? Got a motion by Commissioner Stewart. Got a second? Second by Commissioner Wynn. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries. I see Mr. Hawkins still here. All right, this is a grant, a resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the acceptance of a fiscal 2024 EMA Performance Grant Fund from the Georgia Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency in an amount of $50,000 with a $50,000 local match to be met through provision of in-kind services. That means Mr. Hawkins' paycheck. So since he's snuck up in front of me, we're going to let you talk about this before we entertain any questions or vote. Mr. Hawkins?
Thank you, everyone. This is a grant that we've gotten every year. It's a federal pass-through grant from the federal government through the state to us. This year, like the mayor said, we'll be utilizing the local match of my salary, and we'll be using this grant this year to replace a 14-year-old vehicle that we have within emergency management and to upgrade some outdated computers in our emergency call center.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Clark?
Spencer, how long have you worked at Macon-Bibb County?
10 years.
10 years when?
Sunday.
Sunday. Thank you for your service.
Make a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Clark. We have a second? Second by Commissioner Bronson. All those in favor? Opposed? I understand we may have some weather coming tonight. Can you give me a brief update, please?
Yes, it's going to be an overnight event. Our primary area of concern is the 1 a.m. to about 7 a.m. time frame Wednesday morning. Potential for high winds, we're looking between 25 and 35 miles an hour. A short, probably 2 or 3 hour span of very heavy rain. It is overnight, so everybody will be inside, but we are ready. We're monitoring this. We've got EMA staff that's going to be on the overnight shift to monitor the system and make sure that we are ready in case something should happen.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins, for being on the spot, but I knew you had the answer, otherwise I wouldn't ask you the question. So we had a motion second that passed already. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Item 7A, appropriations and transfers. We have 2 of those tonight before we go into executive session. That is going to be an ordinance of the Macon-Bibb County Commission to make a mid-year budget adjustment. As you recall, some of the new commissioners I mentioned last week that we do this every year in the middle of the year to kind of shore up where we're at with everyone's budgets and to expect numbers that usually seem to be high, but just ordinary business for us. So this is a fiscal year 2025 budget by amending revenue lines in an amount of $4,200,000 to recognize increased revenues that received to date, to authorize intergovernmental transfers in an amount of $1,325,000, and to amend the general fund balance amount of $3,701,000 $421 to appropriate such funds to various expense line items in Exhibit A. Those exhibits total amount of $8,194,746, and each of you have the complete breakdown inside your packets there. And that is also co-sponsored by Mayor Pro Tem Seth Clark and Commissioner Joey Hewitt. And Commissioner Wynn, you have a question?
Could I be added as a co-sponsor, please?
Yes, ma'am, we'll do that. At this time, I will entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Wynn, do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Wilder. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries and will be sent to consent agenda. Item B is the ordinance of the Macon-Bibb County Commission to authorize the appropriation of up to $300,000 from the interest earned on American Rescue Plan Act funds to visit Macon, Inc. to promote tourism, travel, and hospitality. Same thing that's offered by myself, Mayor Pro Tem Clark, Commissioner Wynn, Commissioner Bronson, Commissioner Hewitt. So I know we almost got a majority there. So this is funds that we've done before too. This has come out of the interest money of ARP. Since we've utilized all those funds, we had some in interest. They'll go to visit Macon to promote additional tourism and some specific things that their board will decide. Before we take a vote, Commissioner Stewart, do you have questions, sir?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to ask if I could be added as a sponsor.
Yes, sir, we do that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I get a motion to approve? I don't know who that is. You gotta get a second? In unison. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries unanimous. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have a need to go executive session, and we do expect to have a couple of items to vote on after executive session. It may take a little while to do that, so please be patient. But I need a motion to go into executive session for consultation with the county attorney or other legal counsel to discuss pending or potential litigation, settlement claims, administrative proceedings, and all other judicial actions allowed by law. I get a motion to go into executive session? And can I get a second? Got a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. We're now in executive session. Get a motion to come out of executive session? Got a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Carp. Get a second? Second by Commissioner Howell. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. Ladies and gentlemen, now at executive session, we have two items on the agenda to deal with, both concerning real property. The first is item 9A. This is a resolution of the Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to execute a master development agreement with the Urban Development Authority for lease of certain properties, parcels, real properties to promote business development. That's my motion. Can I get a second? Second by Commissioner Wynn. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. One second. Give us just a couple of moments. We got to pull up the addresses to make sure we have everything accurate for the public. We know the properties we're talking about. Want to make sure everyone at home knows it as well. All right, we're now back on the record. This is a ordinance of Macon-Bibb County Commission authorizing the mayor to sign such documents that are necessary to purchase certain parcels of real property totaling 24 acres more or less at a cost not to exceed $1.5 million, including reasonable closing costs and appropriate such funds from the general fund and for all purposes. Those properties are 40 Spring Street, parcel R071-10121. Such parcel totaling 0.9 acres more or less at a purchase price of $1.150. And also purchase of several properties along Arkwright Road. This 4005 Arkwright Road, 4025 Arkwright Road, 4035 Arkwright Road, and 4055 Arkwright Road. Such parcels totaling 23.1 acres more or less for the purchase price of $225,000. Those are the properties we are purchasing. At this time, I entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Stewart. Get a second. Second by Commissioner Bailey. Also, Commissioner Joe Hewitt will be a co-sponsor of this item. We do have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries, will be sent to consent agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, this ends our regular commission meeting. Committee of the whole will be meeting here in our regular scheduled meeting at 6 o'clock in approximately 20 minutes. Thank you.